All right. Good morning. Could be afternoon for some of you, depending where you're coming in from on the world. But I see we are connected good on LinkedIn. We're connected on Facebook. So all's ready to go, Larry. This is going to be an awesome conversation. So Larry and I were talking, and we want to have this conversation around chaos, right? We're going to talk about shifting from selling to solving. But I've had enough conversations in the 6 months of this year that people are like, "Hey, it's chaotic out there. There's a lot of change. It's happening fast." And there's a lot of fear. I'm just going to be very upfront. I mean, I've never seen people so fearful in this season. So we wanted to talk about this. I think it's really important. Now, since some of you are on live with us, let us know in the comments where you're coming in from and that you're on live so we can give you a shout out. If you got questions as Larry and I go through this, we're going to address some questions. We want to make this as interactive as possible. I love doing these things. So, Larry.
Yes.
You introduce yourself. Usually I do the introducing, but you know what? You have such an awesome background. I don't want to miss anything because I think people really need to hear where you've been in this world to really validate what this conversation is going to go towards.
No, absolutely. So my name is Larry Moss. I'm the owner of Azimuth Consulting. I am a former senior intelligence officer with the Department of Defense. I spent 32 years in the intel world and dealing with chaos a lot, right? Because growing up in the military and in that world, it's not that if a chaotic situation is going to happen, it's when, and being able to operate during that time and remain calm. So when I retired, started my business, Azimuth Consulting, and what I do is I help leaders and organizations move from chaos to clarity, because it's getting through those emotions and those feelings that cloud our judgment and move into a state of clarity where we can make good decisions and develop strategies and move to success. So that's what I do.
Awesome. I apologize for disappearing. Whenever I go to do a live and the windows are open, I have this neighbor. It's like the only time he decides to leaf blow. I'm like, are you kidding me? This happens all the time. Like, I laugh. I'm like, how did you know I was going live? But that's
He's probably following your calendar. It's like, all right,
he wanted to
go out
create
and
some
cut the
chaos
grass.
on this conversation.
Exactly.
All right, so let's give a couple shout outs here. Adam, hello from Northern Virginia. And then we got Justin from Detroit, Michigan. And as I see more popping up, I'll definitely give you all a shout out. So if you just joined us, where are you coming in from? If you're on Team Replay too, absolutely. Let us know. So you kind of heard a little bit about where Larry's been. He's dealt with a lot of chaotic situations. And, some things I hear now, I'm just going to share some things because I work with so many clients. I'm holding off on making decisions. Oh, you know what? I am going to make a decision, but I'm going to go about it this way. Or I need to shift how I pay for this. So something I want to say to everybody, because this is what I hear a lot. Nobody's buying anything. Man, that is the worst mindset ever. Because I could tell you, I sit on the back end, people are buying. They're making decisions differently now. And you need to hear that. I want to say that one more time. People are still buying, businesses are still buying, but they're making decisions completely differently. So you need to learn how to support that process. So as we go from shifting from selling to solving, this is really what we're going to talk about today. So I want to talk about this, Larry. Let me ask you a question here. Mm-hmm. Can you share how business leaders can uncover their real value right now in this chaotic market? Like what kind of clarity do they really need? What's crucial right now that you're seeing?
So I think let me use a kind of a scenario or metaphor. And I used this earlier today, and I posted a few things on it. First of all, I'm not a sailor. Okay, I don't know anything about it, but I do know some sailors and folks that navigate boats and ships. And one of the things when you talk to them about navigating during a storm, right? For me, what am I going to do? I'm going to panic, right? And I'm going to try to outrun the storm or whatever. But what a seasoned sailor will do is they will drop anchor, and that just blows my mind because, okay, if I'm dropping anchor, then the storm's going to engulf me. But what it does is allows them to anchor and take a moment and reflect on what's going on around. Where's the storm coming from? How bad's the storm? Is there any damage? What are my resources? And then they don't stay there. They lift the anchor and they adjust their sails. Okay. And that first initial stop is what's required in businesses, because we all started a business either because we have something of value we want to share, do and help people. It's an opportunity to step back, take a knee, breathe, and go, why do I do this? For me, I help businesses and leaders grow Well, if I'm going to do that, are we saying that chaos, they decide, well, we don't want to grow anymore? No, they, it's just, it's going to look differently. So I've got to take a look and see where that is and what is my value that I bring to the table. So it's taking a step back and taking a moment of calm before you move forward.
And a lot of people don't like to hear that. It's like that, I went through this as I started seeing some shifts, right? There's shifts.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's telling you there isn't shifts, they're not telling you the truth. There's been shifts. And I took like almost 2 weeks and I said, okay, let me take a step back right now. Let me see what my clients are dealing with, what's shifting in their world. Okay, how can I adapt to this and pivot? So it's almost like you said, I dropped that anchor. And there was a lot of turbulence during that time, but it helped me come forward with something different. And now I'm personally launching something that's completely different than I thought it would look like, because I had, as it started in the year, this is the way it's going to go. It's going completely different. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just had to pivot with the situation and put the sail back up and say, okay, let's go. And guess what? When the next moment hits that I got to take a break and just sit back, okay, let's reevaluate. And here's what I like about these situations. There are so many opportunities when you do that, because you will, if you take that moment and sit back, however long that is for you, and really reevaluate, you will find opportunities that most are going to miss.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find like an area that you are an expert in, taking what you already have and really just guiding something different in there, you could do very, very well right now. And I look at every day as a new opportunity to change something today.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a neuroscience behind this, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've all heard of, the fight or flight mode. Well, that's our brain protecting itself, because chaos, our brain can't tell if it's good chaos, bad chaos. It's just chaos.
Yep.
So if you've ever been, I was in a car accident one time, and I remember everything. Tunnel vision sets in. I don't see what's going on, and everything slows down.
Yep.
Well, that's a good thing, because now I can take advantage of that time lapse to step back and go and kind of look around. If you've ever watched Spider-Man, when he's about to get hit and he turns and he looks, and it's like, oh wow, that's that moment in time where we can make decisions, because the chaos isn't the problem. It's how we react or respond to the chaos.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is an emotional, respond is a planned. Okay, because I tell people all the time, like, if my house caught on fire, I'm going to react. Why? Because I'm scared. I want to get out. But the fireman that comes to rescue me in my house, he's responding. Why? Because he's got training, he's got plans, he's got a strategy and a framework that they're going to put over. And that's where the key comes, is what is that framework or system that we have?
And it's just, I'll use I'm a cyclist, and I'll never forget, in one of my bike races, I was with probably 30, 40 others in a Peloton. It was a mountain bike race. It was coming into a very tight, narrow section of trail because it was the start of the race. That's an extremely chaotic situation. And when you said, like, your accident, how you got, it's like, you just like this, what's in front of you. And that's exactly what happened to me, because I knew the entrance I wanted to enter in. And I was in the first probably 15, 20% of the race. And I knew there was a lot of people behind me. And like, you just look, okay, that's where I'm going. Anything else? And trust me, there are riders all over the place trying to pack into the one flow. You just don't think about it. And I mean, there's a lot of trust too. There's a lot of trust that you have to go through with this. And I think let's take a look at what Adam put up here. I think people don't take the time to think first. Exactly. It's ready. It's ready, fire, aim, instead of ready, aim, fire. Plus, if you're acting fast, you lose the chance to consult with your team. Ooh, that's a big one. Why don't you talk about that one a little bit?
No, absolutely. Because a lot of times in chaos, what happens is we think we're alone, right? And especially from like solopreneurs, right? Well, there's nobody else. I don't have a team. Well, you do. You have partners. You have confidants. You have, and sometimes even your clients, because that's where you change. How are you working with your clients? What are you asking questions and listening versus trying to sell them something and tell them what they need? Because you need to listen and understand what they actually need, what's important to them right now. And because frankly, they're part of your team, right? They're part of your business. So listening to them will help you get out of this chaos.
You just hit a nail on the head. Like, that's such a light bulb moment. because I mean, obviously you're a client of mine, but I've listened to so many other clients. Hey, what's going on in your world? And I've heard enough of very similar things that it actually helped me get a new client this morning. Right?
Awesome.
Somebody that was talking to me that was in an event of mine last week. I said this. I said, hey, they're a little slow in their decision, and I just said, I know you want to have this system so you could do this. Just share with me what is in your head right now that's keeping you from making this decision. And they shared with me. I said,
Mhm.
okay, that's really easy to solve. Here's what I'm willing to do. Like, where do I sign up? But
Yeah.
most people won't ask that. They're just going to keep on pushing their agenda. And I just took a step back. I was like, I can help this person. They want the help, but why is this variable here? So I just said, boom. And that's what happened. So, I mean, this is really where we have to start thinking at this moment. And people are going to remember that more too.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's about the relationship, right? Not the service you necessarily provide, but the relationship that you provide. And especially right now, because when there's chaos, there's uncertainty, the ones we turn to are those we trust. So
Yep.
how do we build that trust? And I just I mentioned this yesterday on a LinkedIn post. It's like, what frustrates me about LinkedIn? All of these crazy DMs that I get from people that I don't know trying to sell me something that I don't need and have no intention of buying. If I do need it, guess who I'm going to come to? Somebody I know and trust. So during these chaotic times, it okay. And I know it's like, okay, well, I got to pay the rent, I got to buy food. Okay, take a step back,
Yep.
continue to build the relationship and add value. You may have to give it away, right? May have to give it away for a minute but you're showing up consistently,
Yeah.
consistently. And I learned from you the three C's. What are the three C's?
Create conversations consistently. I'll say it again.
Exactly.
I mean, that's serious, that, and the CCCs. I mean, we'll add chaos in there somewhere, add a fourth one. But
Sure.
if you're not creating conversations consistently, you're not going to adapt and pivot and move with this marketplace. It's just a
Right.
fact. And here's what goes through somebody's head. I'm afraid, I'm fearful, all these things. I'm bothering somebody. Like, that's the worst one. If you can help somebody, no, you're not bothering them. You're helping them, but you got to shift that mindset. Or then
Yeah.
there's the person that says, I need to sell this. No, you need to serve first. Like, when it's
Exactly.
so much mindset in this. There you go, Adam. Know, like, and trust. I'm going to laugh because Adam used this before right here. Where was it? What is it? Fire. Oh yeah, ready, aim, fire. I think some of these approaches in these DMs you're talking about right now are just fire, 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 and ooh, I got one, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It's what do they call it? Spray and pray.
Yeah,
It's like, and I see it all the time. People telling me that they can increase my revenue by 10x. I'm like, really? You haven't even asked me what I do.
I know.
And you're already telling me that I can make 10 times what I'm making now. And I tell my clients all the time, just delete those things. Don't even bother them. And I know it can be frustrating because, oh, do I? And again, when chaos happens, everything looks like a good idea, right? Well,
Yeah.
maybe they got something. Maybe they got a point. Maybe I should engage with them. But you got to ask the questions. And does it align to your values and your mission? Because if it doesn't, man, it's just another snake oil salesman. Just
Oh
stay
yeah.
away from them.
Well, it's like Denny here says. I mean, I can relate to this too. Like getting emails and DMs, and they do the same thing you do. It's like
Yeah.
I have fun with those people, but they don't respond because it's all automated. They don't care. It's a numbers game. But I think this goes into a good question to like kind of keep this moving along this conversation. Like, let's talk about that. How can a leader or an individual solopreneur right now move away from relying on these like outdated scripts? Because this is what people are doing, and put more of a solution in place over these transactions that people are looking for.
No, absolutely. And sometimes the solutions, I like options. All right. I want to be able, and one of the biggest things that we always did when we were designing a strategy and when I was working for the government is we provide our leaders potential courses of action. Okay. Not just one, usually at least three.
Yep.
Okay. Because I need one is not a validated and proven idea. That's just an opinion.
Yep.
But when I give three courses of actions with potential outcomes, now I can better choose and I don't feel stuck. But what a lot of times we do in chaos, we revert back to what we know. Okay. And so we have to be looking at what do we not know? What's different? Because it's the different things that actually cause or allows us to pivot and move forward. I'll use an example. Everybody, COVID, what we call a black swan event, wasn't planned. It happened. It was catastrophic in so many ways, businesses, health. But I ran into an owner of a couple of Chick-fil-A's in my area. Met him in a gas station. We were pumping gas, and we got to talking. And I'm like, well, how's your business going during this? And he's like, we've doubled our income over, prior COVID. Well, what did you do? And, you can't come into the restaurant, right? So he decided, well, I got a drive through so I can deliver there. Wait a minute. I got a parking lot. Nobody's going to be parking in it because they can't come into the restaurant. So he created 5 drive-through lanes in his parking lot. So now everybody, and there were constantly lines.
I'm sure.
Like, well, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, well, the county's charging me $10,000 a week violation of the parking lot, whatever. and I'm like, well, that sucks. He goes, no, I don't have a problem paying them $10,000 a week when I'm making, $70,000 to $80,000 a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's a good point. But he thought
that's a good mindset shift too. Good mindset shift.
It's not what I can't do. Think about things that I can do. Maybe it's something I'm not comfortable with. And those are usually the things I'll try to move towards, because if I'm not comfortable, that's stretching me. And that's giving me a new mindset, something else I can do. And, and I'm doing that just like you right now with my businesses, because potential clients are dropping, hey, we don't have the money. All right, well, you still want to develop your organization and your leaders? Well, yeah. Well, what if we could offer that to you at a considerably lower cost? Well, that I might be interested in. So look for ways that you can still provide the service and still, not some of the things you're just going to do for free for a time period, because later on they're going to remember that you were there. You were there with those conversations consistently.
Well, I can remember during the COVID days, I was doing 5-day challenges, and, there were people that came on business going through some stuff, but I worked deals out with them. Said, hey, come in here. People were referring people to me, like people that were in better situations. Like, it all worked out. And people to this day still remember that. Chris, you met me where I was at, right? You met me where I was at. And now I want to really work with you because now I have the finances. And even right now, whatever people think the economy is this, like the economy is always going to be the economy, right? When people, like, I have people who judge the economy that have come to me for help based off the stock market for that day. And I'm like, you're not a good client. I'm like, I'll tell them straight up. I'm like, if you're like, oh, it's great today, I'm in. Oh, like, I just don't want those kind of people's clients, because they won't stick out the hard days.
Right.
But I've had clients now that I took a step back. One of my mentors said, well, why don't you shift up how somebody can start with you? Make it much easier for them to start, and then have them go on a recurring plan until, right? And I was like, that's genius, because all of a sudden I started doing the math. I'm like, this builds recurring revenue. This helps get more clients. I can make more of an impact. They can make more of an impact. Simple little shift. What most people won't do that I've seen is because they're going to take a hit on the front end. It's like, actually, you're probably going to end up with more clients, because more people are like, wow, this person's meeting the market where it's at right now. And that helps me with my cash flow, because cash flow is king in a business. That's the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, and think partnerships. You and I partnered with a client because they wanted to work with both of us, but couldn't afford both of us. So we're like, okay, we used your plan of revenue, and we'll just partner and work together. And we're helping somebody build their business. So here's an old school process. What about bartering, right? Most people don't even know what the heck bartering is.
Yeah.
And, well, I have something you need. You have something I need or want. So let's trade, right? I did bartering when I first started my business. I did bartering. I did provided coaching to a lawyer who provided, legal services that I needed.
Yeah.
Neither one of us exchanged money, but we got value out of it. So, my plan is to find the truck I want. I want to go do business for that dealer, so he gives me the truck for my. But it's a thought. I'll try it.
Maybe I got to change industry and talk to some of these cycling companies.
Exactly.
Why does Chris have a $20,000 bicycle all of a sudden? Well, but no, I mean, there's so many creative things you can do, and there's always a ripple effect off of those. There's always a ripple effect. So We kind of were covering on strategies, we were covering on mindset, but let's talk about how we can really continue to build more trust in this uncertain economy, right? Because here's my opinion. One of my mentors said to me a few weeks ago, he goes, "This is a season. It's a season." And he
Yep.
goes, "Nobody knows how long this season is. It could be 30 days, 45 days, 6 months, a year. But this season's only going to be here so long. And the more you do the right things in this season, when the next season comes, boom, it's going to take off." So let's talk about how we can really build more trust in these uncertain times.
So building trust for me is adding value wherever I can. So I'm going to increase my presence online with live events, like working with you like this,
Yep.
giving a mastermind series, whatever I can do to make sure that I'm out there, that people need to hear it, they get it. I started my Substack
Hey, you
subscription
did.
account,
Thanks,
right?
Carrie.
So
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna,
Carrie.
yeah, I'm putting stuff out there for free right now. Eventually, I'll start charging for my subscriptions, but right now, it's free.
Yep.
It takes a little effort from me, but I'm in this to add value to others. So, in order to build those relationships and those trust, you've got to be that trusted partner and that trusted source. And I think it was John Maxwell that said, "Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care."
Oh,
Right. So you've got to build that trust first, because that's the foundation of everything we do. How many businesses have we seen in the news to where they lost trust and all of a sudden they're bankrupt? Small, large, I mean, Enron, you name
yeah.
it. And there's tons of them out there, because once
Yeah.
you lose the trust, it is so hard, if not impossible, to gain back. And so spend this time now building the trust, because that's the currency that's going to turn into revenue later when the chaos starts to subside.
I mean, I believe we're in a trust recession right now, out of
Oh,
anything. When
absolutely.
people say we're in a recession, I'm like, yeah, we're in a trust recession. I've done enough, and we'll talk about this to transition a little bit. I've done enough virtual events, 5-day challenges, intensives where you can build trust at a much more accelerated rate because you give so much value. You
Hmm.
give people breakthrough, you give them transformation. And those are the things people look like. People begin to trust you more when you give them a result. They're like, "Ooh, this person got me here, and I like this person now," and they got a
Sure.
lot of fans. So actually, let's talk about this. I'm going to drop this here. You're going to be doing a challenge in a couple weeks, from chaos to
Yep.
clarity, right? Let's talk about that. Anybody that scans this code to join, use the word clarity at checkout. There's a little box, and just put the word clarity in there, and it'll take $50 off. So go ahead, Larry. Let's talk about this a little bit.
No, absolutely. So we're going to spend 5 days together. Well, not 5 full days, but just an hour each day throughout the week. And we're going to dive deep into, first of all, understanding what chaos is. As a lot of people don't recognize it until they're in the middle of it. So understanding what it is, how it impacts us both personally and professionally, and then building strategies to move from chaos to clarity. And that's the whole purpose of this challenge. And you'll walk away with a plan. I mean, of something that you can apply immediately in whatever current situation you have. And so, yeah, this is my next challenge that I'm doing. And this is, when is this? June 16th through the 20th.
Yeah.
And it will be from noon to 1 every day. So from Monday through Friday, and virtual. It'll be very interactive. I'm gonna we're gonna dive deep. We're going to be vulnerable. We're going to answer questions. And I'm going to share. And so hopefully it'll build trust with those that show, and help you to build trust with your clients as well.
Yeah, and if you're not aware of really what a challenge is not like an event you just sit back and don't do anything. Larry said he's going to guide you through things. You're going to get live coaching from Larry. Okay, like I know Larry's rates on one-on-one. So to spend him, when you take the $50 off, it's $100 right now. You're going to get that live coaching interaction each and every day. But a challenge moves you forward, right? So you're going to come in here, and then, like Larry said, you're going to come out with a roadmap, a framework on the back end. And that's really what he's going to do over these 5 days. I know I'll be in there personally because I want to glean this insight, even though I have the benefit of working with Larry. Even just, that's the thing. When you work with somebody, even when you get to see them in their zone of genius amongst the group, you gain so much knowledge. And there'll be a nice little community set up for this so you can gain knowledge from others and, network too. It's a part of this also. So, I encourage you to right over here, Scan that and just remember, hit the word clarity, Clarity, when you check out, and Larry will take $50 off from you. But let's talk about a couple things you're going to do in this challenge, like maybe a couple areas you're going to uncover just so people can really see where you're going to take this.
So day one is understanding chaos. Okay. And we're going to talk about the external chaos and the internal chaos that we feel. And I'm going to ask you to share, what are you feeling right now? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it self-limiting beliefs that you're struggling with? Or is it external chaos that's causing you to get that tunnel vision, or to catastrophize? I heard that term used this morning in a meeting.
Wow.
It's like, oh, and catastrophizing is seeing something you don't understand and then pulling that thread and thinking the worst. Like, oh my God, if I don't land this client, then I'm going to lose my business. If I lose my business, I'm not going to have an income. I could lose my house. I can do all of this. That's catastrophizing. There's nothing in your current world that's saying that's going to happen, but that's what we do. And that's what chaos does to us. And we're going to uncover that and then build strategies to overcome it.
That's a big one right there. The ripple effect of chaos. One of the things I learned in cycling, when chaos hits in a bike race, because it's going to at some point, right? It's just like ought to be expected. Nothing ever goes as planned in a bike race. If you think it does, good luck. And I just learned to control the nervous system. Like, early on, I couldn't control a thing. And like, it would mess up how I was in the bike race and I wouldn't perform how I could. And then when I hired a coach and he's like, your issue, you're fit, this, he goes, it's all up here and you need to control your nervous system. And it's a hard thing to control. Like, I'll never say it's easy. Even to this day, I have mindset coaches, right? I mean, and at this game, I'm 52. So I've had mindset coaches the whole way. But I believe it's one of the biggest things when you can learn how to take any chaotic situation and just, okay, the world's not ending. I'm not dead. This present moment, which is key, this present moment is where things can change. So my next decision, my next step, my next pedal stroke decides where I could go. And if you go down the path of, dang, didn't get that client, I got the mortgage due in 2 days, I don't have anybody that's coming on in the next 2, this is going to get bad. You know how many times I've never thought that way and a miracle comes, a miracle, and you're like, huh, okay, right? But it's because I didn't put the energy out that was going the other way and let my whole internal system crash.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of people are, mindset, the reason mindset is so important, and if you haven't read Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, I highly suggest it, is we need to understand that we control our brain. All right. When it comes to mindset, our brain doesn't control us. Our brain tries because it's doing what it's supposed to do and protect us when it's threatened. Okay. But we have to evaluate that threat. And that's what mindset allows us to do. And we have to be in the right mindset to navigate through chaos.
And that's part of what we'll do coming out of day one. So I'm going to let you wrap us up, Larry. I'm good at keeping these things to 30 minutes so people watch it on replay. So if you're on team replay and you didn't let us know you're on, please let us know because, we'll definitely give you an acknowledgement on the post that's out here. But I encourage you, screenshot that, go to the link. It'll take you where you go to check out. But I'll let you wrap us up here, Larry, and then stay on with me after when we're done.
No, absolutely. And real quick, the discount code is good for the next 48 hours.
That's right.
End of Friday, the discount code goes away. That way, if you watch it on replay, you still get the discount code. But I want to challenge each and every one of you to stop and breathe, right? If you've never done any relaxing breathing, it's real simple. Just get a place of calm, breathe in through the nose, and blow it out. It's called box breathing. Do this for about a minute, and you'd be surprised how your stress level is going to go down. And give a chance to reflect. You'll start seeing things that you didn't see before. And you know what? I'm here in Northern Virginia. It's a beautiful day. Get outside, walk, reflect, and think about how you can pivot.
Love it. So, box breathing, I love that. I learned that years ago, and it is amazing what it does to you. I mean, I could give you lots of stories on this. So we thank you all for joining, all that were interacting with us, giving us some comments out there. Adam, Jacob, appreciate you out there. I think we also had Denny out there. So thank you for interacting with us. We look forward to seeing those of you that are going to hit this link and join us in a couple weeks in the challenge. We'll have a lot of fun in there, and we'll help each other move forward through these chaotic times. So we're going to say it. Have a great day. Enjoy your Wednesday and kick off June strong. It's going to be an awesome month.